Fit and Fine at Your Places. I'm Priyanka Vish from Arden Progressive School. Today in this session, we'll be discussing about the second chapter, which is Principles of Management. In the previous class, we have already discussed about the term Principles of Management, its importance and features. So here in this session, we'll be learning about Fayol's 14 Principles of Management. So here it goes. So as we have studied in the previous session about the management principles, we know management principles are guidelines for managerial action and they are technical in nature. Today's topic is Fayol's principle of management. Now Henry Fayol, who is the father of management studies and thoughts, he has given 14 principles of management. So before going through the principles of management given by Henry Fayol, let's have a look on the background and history of Fayol. Henry Fayol was born in France in 1841. He got the degree in mining engineering in 1860 and he started working as engineer in a coal mining company. Now in 1888, he became the managing director of this mining company that employed over 1000 people. At that time, the company was in the situation of insolvency. He accepted the challenge and applied his managerial techniques to bring out the company from this situation, and he was succeeded. So Henry Fayol was very successful in this position for over 30 years, that is until 1918. And around 1900, the mining company was one of the largest producers of iron and steel in France. At that time, this industry was considered to be vital for France. Now we will see some major contributions of Fayol. So Henry Fayol became famous as father of management studies and thoughts because of the following contribution. He made clear distinctions between technical and managerial skill. Then he identified the main steps in the process of management which are considered the major functions of management, so that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. Next, he developed 14 principles of management which act as a guideline for managers to perform managerial activities. So based on the principle given by Henry Fayol, managers used to perform the managerial activities in the organization. These were some major contribution of Henry Fayol. So now we will see what are the 14 principles which are given by Henry Fayol. So let's have a look on the 14 principles given by Henry Fayol. First is division of work, then authority and responsibility. Third principle is discipline. Fourth is unity of command. Fifth is unity of direction. Sixth, subordination of individual interest to general interest. Seventh, remuneration of persons. Eighth is centralization and decentralization. Ninth principle, scalar chain. 10th, principle of order. 11th is principle of equity. 12th is stability of tenure of personnel. Then 13th is initiative. And last is spirit de corps. So now we will be learning about these principles in details. So we'll start with the very first principle, which is division of work. Now, according to this principle, the whole work must be divided into small tasks or units, and instead of assigning the whole work to one person, one task or unit of work should be assigned to one person according to the capability, qualification and experience of the person. So when a person is performing a part of job again and again, he will become perfect and specialized in doing that work and the efficiency level will improve. So Fayol said that not only the factory work but the technical, managerial and skill jobs should be divided into small segments for specialization. So the positive effect of division of work will be specialization. That means whenever the work is divided according to the qualification, then automatically it leads to specialization. Second positive effect will be it will improve efficiency. When employee is performing only one part of job, then he becomes expert in that. Now, consequences of violation of this principle will be: first, lack of efficiency; second, there will be no specialization; and third, there will be a chances of duplication of work. Example of this principle can be, we know in bank one person is receiving cash, one is giving cash, one is making entry in passbook, one is giving loan, or other is doing FD, etc. So here work is divided and the bank operates efficiently. This is the example of division of work. Now second principle is authority and responsibility. So the concept of authority and responsibility, they are closely related to each other. Authority means power to take decision, whereas responsibility means obligation to complete the job assigned on time. Now authority comes with power. The one who is in a big position, he has more authority, and the one who is working in the lower level, he is accountable to complete the task on time. That is responsibility. So according to this principle, there must be a balance between the authority and responsibility. Excess of authority without matching responsibility, it may give a negative results, whereas excess of responsibility without matching authority, it will not allow the worker to complete his job on time. For example, if a person is given a responsibility to produce 100 units in a week time, but he is not given the authority to purchase the raw material. So here responsibility is to produce 100 units in 1 week, and authority is not given to purchase the raw material. So if there is no raw material available in the storeroom, as a result he could not complete the target of producing 100 units of time, because the worker was not given the authority to purchase raw material. So worker cannot be blamed for not completing on time, because he was given only the responsibility which was not matching to the authority to carry on the work. So excess of responsibility with less authority will result in non-completion of job. Now, there are some positive effects of this principle. First, no misuse of authority. If authority and responsibility will be balanced, then there will be no misuse of authority. Second, it will help in meeting the responsibility on time without any delay. Now, here the consequences of violation of this principle will be delay in work, misuse of authority due to excess authority, overburden with work with excess responsibility. So if there will be excess authority, then there will be misuse of authority, and if there will be excess responsibility, it will be overburdened with the work. Now, third principle is discipline. Now what does the word discipline means? Discipline means some rules and regulation which is to be followed by everyone. So discipline refers to following code of conduct, rules, regulation of employment agreement, good superior at all level, clear and fair agreement among the subordinate and the superior, then meeting commitments at all level, judicious application of penalties. All these refers to discipline. Now, FAOL insists that discipline is required at all levels. It is not necessary that the discipline is to be required at the lower level, but discipline is required at top level and middle level and as well as lower level. So here the disciplinary rule shall not be applicable only on subordinates, but discipline requires good superiors at every level, clear and fair agreement between the superiors and subordinates, etc. For example, the employee must honor their commitments towards the organization by working effectively and efficiently. On the other hand, superiors must also meet their commitments by meeting their promises of increments, promotion, wages, etc. So this is the example of discipline. Now here are some positive effects of this principle. First, systematic working in the organization. If there will be discipline, there will be systematic working in the organization. Discipline will also improve the efficiency. Consequences of violation of this principle will be disorder, confusion and chaos, wastage of resources and delay of work due to absence of rules and regulations. Now next principle is unity of command. So according to this principle, an employee should receive orders from one boss superior and he should be accountable to one superior only. Why? Because if he is receiving orders from more than one boss, then he will get confused and he will not be able to understand that whose order must be executed first. We can take the example of this principle. For example, if employee of production department is asked to go slow in the production to maintain quality standard by the production in charge, and sales in charge instructs the employee to fasten the production to meet the pending orders. So here the employee is getting order from production manager that the production should go slow so that the quality of the product can be maintained, whereas here sales manager is also insisting the employees to fasten the production to meet the pending order. So in this situation, the employee will get confused as to whose instruction must be followed by him. Clear? So here, conclusion of this principle is that the subordinate should receive order from one boss only. So positive effect of this principle will be there will be no confusion among the subordinates. Second, there will be no ego clashes. And third, it will improve efficiency in working. Consequences of violation of this principle will be confusion among subordinates, escaping responsibilities, ego clashes, and lack of discipline in organization. Now, the fifth principle is unity of direction. So according to this principle, one unit means one plan. The entire organization should be moving towards a common objective in a common direction. So it means that the efforts of all the members and the employees of the organization must be directed towards one direction, that is the achievement of common goal. So if this principle is applied, it leads to coordination. So coordination feature is also included in unity of direction. Each department and a group having common objective must have one head and one plan only. If we take the example of this principle, the example can be if an organization is producing different lines of products such as cosmetic, medicines, etc. So each product has its own market and its own business environment. Now each division must plan its target and every employee of that division must put its efforts towards the achievement of plan of their division under the direction of one head only. On no account should the working of different departments should overlap. Now the positive effect of this principle will be achievement of organizational goal. Second is efforts of all the employees will get unified towards one direction only. Consequences of violation of this principle can be lack of coordination, wastage of efforts and resources, and difficulty in achieving organizational goal. Next principle is subordination of individual interest to general interest. Now according to this principle, the interest of organization must supersede the interest of individual or employees, which means the interest of one person should not take priority over the interest of the organization as a whole. So in the organization, all the employees are working with some objective and there is always an objective of organization. So if the objective of individual are in the same direction of organizational objective, then there is no problem. But if the objective of both the groups, that is objective of employee and objective of organization, if they are in different direction, then the manager must try to reconcile individual interest with the organizational goal. And if it is not possible, then individual goal must be sacrificed for achieving organizational goal. So here management must take all the decision in the organization by giving priority to the organizational interest and not his personal interest. A manager can ensure this by his exemplary behavior, by not misusing his authority for personal favor. For example, before buying raw materials, the manager must compare the prices and qualities of all the supplier and give order to best rather than giving order to his own relative by misusing his power. Some positive effect of this principle can be achievement of organizational goal and coordination between individual and organizational goal. Consequences of violation of this principle can be there will be no achievement of organizational goal and even employees will also suffer in long run. Seventh principle is remuneration of persons. So according to this principle, employees in the organization must be paid fairly to give them maximum satisfaction. So what do you understand by the fair remuneration? Where the employees should be paid fair wages and salary which would give at least a reasonable standard of living, and at the same time it should be within paying capacity of the company. The fair wages is determined according to the financial capacity of the concern by keeping in mind the Minimum Wage Act of government and the wages and salaries paid by the competitors. So this principle says that the employee should be paid fair wages. And what do you understand fair wages? Fair wages can be which at least can give a reasonable standard of living to the employees, and it should also be in capacity of the company. Financial capacity should be taken care of, and Minimum Wage Act of the government should also be kept in mind, and also the salary which is paid by the competitors, the employee must get that salary. For example, if in a particular year the organization has earned more profit than apart from giving extra profit to shareholders and owners, so some part of profit must be given to employees also in the form of bonus. This will encourage and motivate the employees to put more efforts and increase the profits of the company. So positive effect of this principle can be, first, employees will get motivated. Second, devotion and commitment of employees will improve. And the consequences of violation of this principle will be increase in turnover of employees and dissatisfaction and demotivation of employees. Now the eighth principle is centralization and decentralization. So centralization basically refers to the centralization of authority or power in few hands at the top level, and decentralization means evenly distribution of powers at every level of management. So here, according to Henry Fayol, a company must not be completely centralized or completely decentralized, but there must be a combination of both depending upon the nature and size of organization. A small organization can be well organized and managed with centralized technique, because in small organization there is only one owner. So one owner can manage everything. So principle of centralization will be applied in small organization. But in large organization where there are large number of people working, there is need for centralization. That means distribution of power. So secondly, if employees are efficient and competent, then they can be trusted by having decentralization. But if employees are not fully developed and are less in numbers, then there must be centralization. So Fayol advised not to have complete centralization or not to have complete decentralization, but there should be a combination of both. For example, Panchayat in our country have been given more powers to decide and spend funds granted to them by the government for welfare of villagers. So this is decentralization at national level. If we talk about our country India, in India also there is decentralization because the powers is being divided between the central government, state government and local government. Now, here are some positive effects of this principle. First, benefits of centralization as well as decentralization. Second, fast decisions at operational level and strict control by top level. Consequences of this violation of this principle can be: complete centralization will result in delay in decision, and complete decentralization will result in misuse of authority. Now, next principle is scalar chain. So here, according to Fayol, scalar chain means line of authority or chain of superiors from highest to lowest rank. So Fayol insists that this chain must be followed strictly in the organization, as every information must pass through every key of this chain. No skipping of one key should be allowed. So here, each manager from the first line supervisor to the president possesses certain amount of authority. The president possesses the most authority, the first line supervisor the least. Now, the lower level managers should always keep upper level managers informed of their work activities, and the existence of a scalar chain and adherence to it are necessary if the organization is to be successful. So, positive effect of this principle is systematic flow of information. Second, no communication gap in the organization. Consequences of violation of these principles can be: there may be communication gap and no clarity in authority responsibility relationship. Now here is the 10th principle, which is principle of order. So in this principle, order doesn't mean command, but it refers to orderly arrangement of men and material, that is a fixed place for everything and everyone in the organization. So according to Fayol, there must be a fixed place to keep every material and things which is used in organization, and there must be a fixed place or seat or cabin for every employee of the organization, so that no time and energy is wasted in search of any material or any person. We can take one example here. If a worker is in need of a tool, then he must know in which box or tool room it will be found. And if he needs the guidance from supervisor, then he must know the fixed cabin of the supervisor. If no fixed place is given, then the worker will waste his time and energy in search of tools or supervisor. So it is clear from this principle that order means orderly arrangement of men and material. That means there must be a fixed place for both men and material, so that there is no wastage of time and energy. The positive effect of this principle can be no wastage of time in search of men and material, smooth and systematic working of the organization. Consequences of violation of this principle can be wastage of time and energy in search of men and material, and not able to contact the people at the right time. Now 11th principle is principle of equity. So the word equity means kind, fair, equal treatment to the employees. The employees will put their maximum efforts only when they are treated with kindness and justice. So here, if a manager is biased in dealing with employees, then the employees will get dissatisfied and they will not contribute to their maximum capacity. So equity doesn't mean equal salary to a peon and supervisor, but equity means application of same disciplinary rules, leave rules in the same way irrespective of their grade, position and gender. So it is clear from this principle, equity means no discrimination on account of sex, religion, language, caste, belief or nationality. There must be equal rules for every employees who are working in an organization. There must be no discrimination of their grade, position and gender. Now there are some positive effects of this principle. Employees get satisfied. It motivates the employees and boosts up the morale of the employees. Consequences of violation of this principle can be dissatisfaction in employees, increase in turnover, unhealthy relation between superior and subordinates. Next principle is stability of tenure of personnel. So it refers to no frequent termination and transfer. Now according to this principle, the management must provide the feeling of job security among the employees so that the employees can contribute to their maximum. But with the feeling of insecurity for the job, the employees cannot contribute their maximum. Frequent turnover of employees or transfer of employee is bad for the organization, and such decision must be taken when they are almost unavoidable. Now, not only the turnover, but frequent transfer or rotation should also be avoided, because it takes some time to a person to learn and get settled on a job. And by the time when he gets settled and he is receiving orders, transfer order, then it will be a wastage of resources, and the employee will not be able to contribute his best for the organization. Now, positive effect of this principle can be, it improves the efficiency level of employees, and there is no wastage of time and resources. Whereas the consequences of violation of this principle can be wastage of resources in learning the new job, frustration and dissatisfaction among the employees. Now the 13th principle is initiative. So initiative refers to taking the first step with self-motivation. Now according to this principle, Fayol suggested that employees in the organization must be given an opportunity to take some initiative in making and executing a plan. So when the top level management is planning some objective for the organization, so employees should also be given some opportunity to give some suggestions for the plans and policies of the organization. It gives immense satisfaction to the employees, so managers must welcome the suggestions and ideas of employees before framing the plan. Now the initiative does not mean disobedience, that is, once decisions are taken by the management, then every employee must follow it, whether it is according to employee suggestion or not. Now example of this principle can be, before setting up of a plan, the manager must welcome the suggestion and ideas to allow their maximum participation. But once the plan is made, every employee must follow it and implement it. So there are some positive effects of this principle. Positive effects are, employees get motivated, devotion and commitment of employees improve. It also develops the feeling of belongingness in employees. Consequences of violation of this principle can be, it increase in turnover of employees and dissatisfaction and demotivation of employees. Now the last principle is spirit de corps. Now according to this principle, management must encourage and promote team spirit, unity and harmony. This will bring coordination and cooperation in organization. So according to Fayol, a manager should replace I with we. This will give a rise to mutual trust and belongingness among the team members, and it will also minimize the need of using penalties. Clear? Now, positive effect of this principle can be, develops team spirit. This principle develops team spirit. Second is achievement of group goal. And the consequences of violation of this principle can be, first is team goal may not be achieved, and second is no team spirit and more stress on individualism. So in this session we have learnt about all the 14 principles which were given by Henry Fayol. Now in the next session we'll continue with some other topic of the same chapter. That's all for today. Thank you.